Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
So this is Glenn Livingston, and I'm here with Laurie Nyberg. How are you, Laurie?
I'm fine. Thank you, Glenn. How are you?
I'm very well. I was looking forward to the call with you. Laurie graciously agreed to talk through a little bit about her experience with the book, what it's been like for her to think about a food plan and draw her lines in the sand so that she could isolate her internal fat thoughts from her internal thin thoughts and define her own pig and all those things that we talk about in the book. And I've also agreed to help Laurie with any aspect of this that she would like help with. And so with that, Laurie, where would you like to start? Is there anything with regards to your experience of the book that left you curious or uncertain or anything that you're struggling with?
Yes, I loved the book. It definitely gave me a feeling of being curious and thinking, I'm going to definitely try this, but I'm not sure if I can do it. So I have a question with having the thought of always doing something and never doing something. And it kind of frightens me because when I tell myself never, it almost makes me feel like I'm going to want to do it. And if I do cheat, let's say, and let my pig out, I then have a tendency with my personality to beat myself up. And beating myself up isn't a very good quality that I have either. So I think part of my issue that I saw with the book was being so rigid and how I was going to resolve that issue.
Yeah, that's a very common perception, and you're describing the internal battle, which makes it difficult for many people to develop more of the impulse control that they really want to for their own confidence and well-being and health pursuits. Let's just talk about both sides of that, because I absolutely agree and support the idea that if you were to make a mistake, that beating yourself up about that mistake and kind of perseverating on the guilt is destructive. One of the things we talk about is the different mindset that's required after a mistake as opposed to before a mistake. It's kind of like if your kids had some goal and they wanted to ride a bike race or get into a particular school or climb a mountain or do something that was very important to them. What we wouldn't do is say, well, you're probably not going to make it, so let's not make that goal at all. What we would say is, I have 100% confidence in you. Let's study and prepare and make sure you have all the resources that are necessary to get you to that goal. And let's set out with as much confidence as we can possibly muster. Let's, as a matter of fact, arbitrarily set our confidence at 100% that we're going to go forward. Now, if your child came back and got halfway up the mountain or was rejected by the school, you would not beat them up about that. You would say, well, let's pick the next goal. Let's go back and analyze what went wrong. Let's get up again and figure out how we can do this. Maybe we're going to apply again next year. If we're doing the bike race, maybe we're going to try a little bit of a different fuel. And then you would once again set out with as much confidence as enthusiasm as you could possibly muster. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely.
See, before a mistake occurs, there's kind of a myth in the culture that we should look for progress as opposed to perfection. But there's a level of uncertainty inherent in progress that actually is beating you up the whole time. If you go out and you say, well, maybe I'm going to do this, maybe I'm not going to do it, what that really means is you're probably not going to do it. Perfectionism is actually helpful when you're setting out to accomplish the goal. To have an almost grandiose level of confidence that this is how it is, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to visualize myself on top of that mountain. I'm going to visualize myself in that school. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there, and nobody can convince me otherwise. Those are the people who get to the top of the mountain and get into the school. Now, if you don't get there, then perfectionism is the wrong attitude. If you make a mistake, then to say, see, you're not perfect, therefore you're nothing. Therefore, you shouldn't have any goals. You shouldn't have had the goal in the first place, and what's wrong with you, and to perseverate on that guilt, that's not well either. So it's a little tricky because there's a different mindset you need to take before versus after a mistake. And on a practical basis, most people that I've helped with this approach, they require some experimentation and falling down and getting up a few times in order to really get a plan that they can live with indefinitely thereafter. What do you think of that?
I like it. It makes a lot of sense. And I definitely understand the thought process of setting out to have a goal and having this perfection in mind, because if you just say, well, maybe I'm going to try, it's not going to work, because I've done things like that. If I want something, I have to say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it work. And this is going to happen. So I definitely understand that concept. And I guess with coaching, and this is what I think I said to you before, I think I would need the coaching to help me say, okay, to be able to not be so hard on myself and to be able to help me get through that. Like you just said, with a little bit of falling down and trial and error, maybe before it's a complete set plan. So I think that it's almost like a little bit of teamwork. I think if I were doing this all by myself and saying, okay, this is it, I'm making my food plan, I'm never having this, and I'm going to screw that pig, I think I probably would have a hard time if I didn't have a little bit of help from the outside with somebody saying to me, yeah, you know what? Okay, you fell down, the pig came out, we're going to do it again. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, very much on one level. And then there's a kind of subtle distinction I'd like to make to help you with this. Because, first of all, if you would like to call me back when and if you make a mistake, which the appropriate attitude for us to have is that you're never going to do that again. But if you would like to call me and process that and have our listeners hear you go through that, I'd be willing to do that with you. When you step back and you listen to what the pig might be saying in the situation, when it comes to toxic pleasure, the pig is very motivated to talk you out of doing this. It really doesn't want you to make a final plan. It doesn't want you to make this commitment. And so part of what's going on, and this is extremely common, is that your pig is saying, you can't do this by yourself. This is not an independent project. You need a coach, and oh, by the way, if that coach happens to fail you, then we're just going to throw this out the window, and that's that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. The problem with food in particular, when the pleasure becomes too much and we eat to toxic levels, which we all do in our society, right? The problem with food in particular is that it's culturally sanctioned. There's a lot of social pressure to eat the way that everybody else eats. And it's extremely pleasurable. The food industry has developed super rewarding food. They figured out how to push our evolutionary buttons. How can we get the most calories in the smallest space for the least amount of price? We didn't have anything like chocolate bars 15,000 years ago. We didn't have anything like, I don't know what your particular evil is. That happens to be mine. We didn't have those types of things. And so the enormous draw combined with the culturally sanctioned indulgence makes it very confusing if you believe that you need to work with another person, because there's almost no two people on earth that have the same philosophy about exactly what's healthy for them. In part, unless someone is really trained to listen for the pig, it's difficult. It's difficult to get successful coaching through that.
I understand exactly what you're saying, and it makes so much sense, because as I was talking to you before and telling you what I thought I needed, it was my pig talking. I get it. It was my pig saying, I don't know whether I could do this by myself, because that pig doesn't want to be in there. I get it. I really get it. That's the funny thing. I think I really can do it. No, I don't think I can do it. I know I can do it. How's that? I'll tell you why. because I have done things like this before, which I think I've mentioned to you. I have kept kosher. So for 20 years, I never ate certain things just because it was what I believed in. Nobody was telling me, nobody was helping, nobody was coaching me. I did it all by myself. I did it without my family. I did it completely on my own. That was what I did. So I did it.
And your pig had you convinced that that wasn't possible anymore.
Right. That pig is very strong. As you said in your book, that pig will do anything to want to come out. And I so get it because I've struggled with it.
Strong when you don't hear it. Strong when you think that its thoughts are your own. But when you can hear it, I can hear the excitement in your voice and the exuberant enthusiasm that comes through when you recognize what's going on. The pig really isn't that powerful. It gets by because it doesn't get heard. It fools you into thinking that you're thinking this as opposed to it thinking that.
Right.
Would it be helpful to you to talk more specifically about what you want to do, or would you prefer to keep that private?
Yes, I would like to talk about specifically if it would be helpful to you. I think one of the other things that was my concern that I mentioned to you, which I think you said you could help me with, is that I more or less do eat a healthy diet for the most part. I have a hard time when it comes to portion control, which is the whole binging. I could have a whole bucket of popcorn, and even if I wasn't hungry and the popcorn bucket was in front of me, I would eat the whole bucket of popcorn. Would that be considered one of my evils, that because I have this desire to eat a whole bucket of popcorn when I really shouldn't have the whole bucket of popcorn, that I would necessarily put popcorn on my never list? And not just popcorn. Let's just say I was making turkey for dinner. The turkey was so delicious, but I ate 3 portions of it. So that's kind of what I was hoping maybe you could help me figure how that works.
Sure. Everybody's individual with this. And let's start with the notion that you should enjoy your food. Food is a life-giving, delicious part of the human experience. And I want you to construct a food plan that you look forward to every day for the rest of your life. So the purpose of this is to give you confidence and the ability to be guiltlessly present as you eat and really enjoy the experience going forward. So we only want to put things on the never list that really are too pleasurable and too difficult for us to just have a moderate portion of. You know, that said, for many people, they struggle for years going back and forth trying to make a rule about how much of X, Y, or Z they can have, and inevitably decide that, well, it would just be a lot easier to do it never than sometimes. And only you can decide whether that's really for you. Putting it on the never list is as easy as deciding, well, that's not kosher, right? Putting it on the never list is as easy as deciding, well, that's okay that I have this craving. That's okay that this is extremely pleasurable. This is a particular kind of pleasure that I'm choosing to forego in my life so that I can have other kinds of pleasures. What's important is that we know we have that ability. And whether you choose to conditionally try to control popcorn for a while because you enjoy it so much, and maybe we could talk a little bit about what rules you might have put together for yourself in the past and how well that might have worked or not to try and go over that. It's really up to you. And it's not up to your pig. See, it's really important that we have this well thought through and considered discussion about it so that you make the choice and your pig doesn't. So why don't we talk about that? What's been your experience with popcorn, and have you tried to make a rule to control it, and when does it cause trouble for you, and that kind of thing?
I think really me, not my pig, works best when I do say it's better for me not to have it at all. I think I'm afraid. I think the pig is the one that's saying, don't put it on the never list because you'll be unhappy about it. But the truth is that because I probably wouldn't be able to say only have 1 cupful, I probably would have to put popcorn on my never list and it would just be okay. Because you see, just like with keeping kosher, once I've made up my mind to do that, then I can do it. That's why I was saying to you that this is an interesting process for me because it scares me to say never, but I know once I do it, I work well with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's the battle that's difficult. Once you let go, then you let go.
Right. And I do. And once I do that, and once I make the commitment, I'm pretty good discipline-wise of sticking to it. And that's why I think this will work for me. And it's just a matter of making something that is doable.
Are you going to ever have popcorn again between now and the time that you die?
You mean if I put that on my food plan and say never?
Are you ready to put that on your never list or no?
If I never will have popcorn again till I die. I probably could do it if I had to do it, if that was my decision, if I know that I feel really sick after I eat a bucket of popcorn at the movie theater or even a bag of popcorn at home. Yeah, I could probably be fine with it.
I was asking you that question in a very pointed way so we could force your pig out to the surface.
How so?
Well, now this is up to you. Please don't perceive any judgment one way or the other from me. It's up to you whether you want to do this or not. But if you were ready to make that commitment, and I asked you if you're ever going to have popcorn for the rest of your life, then you would say, no, I'm never going to have popcorn again for the rest of my life. And everything else that we heard would have been coming from your pig. Probably, maybe, kind of, sort of. That's all the uncertainty that's coming from the pig. That's how you play the game. You draw that line in the sand, and you define the behavior in no uncertain terms, and then any uncertainty whatsoever, any doubt, any conditional thoughts that the pig is throwing up, that's all squeal. That all comes directly from the pig at that point. But we can only do that if you're really ready to make the commitment. If you need to think about that more, then I don't want to force you into that pointed position because it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. You mean with popcorn or just in general?
I want you to have the food plan that you want to have. I was talking specifically about popcorn. Just a minute ago, you were very excited.
I am excited. I'm going to do this. I want to do this.
Are you sure?
Yes. I'm going to do it. You keep asking me if I'm sure. You're giving me a way out. I don't want a way out.
I want to see if your pig has anything else to say.
My pig is scared. My pig doesn't want to be locked up there, really, but I really want it to. And I know I can. So, yes, I do. I want to do it.
Lori, are you 100% certain that between now and the rest of your life, you won't have even one more bite of popcorn?
Yes.
The pig got your tongue, didn't it?
That's a funny thing. It's really a funny thing. But why is it that if somebody asks me if I'm going to ever have shrimp between the time I decided to eat kosher till the rest of my life? No, I haven't. I haven't had shrimp. And I don't plan to. And I like it.
How come? Why didn't you have shrimp?
Because it wasn't kosher. And I made a commitment. I made a food plan.
You decided that it was wrong for you.
Right. Not wrong for me. That was my choice. That was what I chose to do. It was my belief. I wanted to. So I said no. And I said, I'm not having shrimp and stone crabs and lobster. And I grew up on that stuff.
You have the human ability to abstain for the rest of your life if you want to.
Yes, I have for 20 years.
And it's up to you and not your pig.
It's up to me.
So let's try again. Lori, are you ever going to have popcorn, even one bite between now and the time you die?
No. No popcorn.
How certain are you?
100%.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay. And how does that feel?
It feels scary a little bit. It feels, oh my God, am I really going to not have popcorn when I go to the movie theater and you walk in and you smell that delicious popcorn and how am I going to do it? But I know I can do it. If I make up my mind, I know I can do it. And I know I'm not going to be missed. I'm not going to die. I'm going to still survive. And you know what? I'm still going to enjoy my movie and I'm still going to enjoy my life. Not having the popcorn is not going to take anything away except not give me a stomach ache.
The pig says it's impossible to enjoy a good movie without a bucket of popcorn, right?
Wrong, wrong, wrong. I can. I love the movies no matter what.
You're getting it, Lori. You're getting it.
I'm getting it.
Do you feel confident to go out and try this now?
Yes, I do.
Try it for the rest of your life.
Yes, I do. I do. I can do it.
Do you have any other questions or concerns or thoughts to share?
No, it's actually exciting and exhilarating, and I think it feels really good to make a plan. I think it really feels good to make a commitment. I feel better, more confident, more in control. I know I feel better when I'm in control of things in my life that I can be in control of. I can't control anybody else, but when I can control the things about me. So I know that when I make a commitment for me, And it's not just a wishy-washy, oh, maybe. The positivity gives me a really, really good feeling. So I'll be getting off this phone call and saying, wow, I am in control and I know I can do it.
I'm glad that you're thrilled about it. You should be thrilled about it. And I will look forward to hearing how you do.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Glenn. It's been a pleasure.
One more time before you go, will you ever have even one more bite of popcorn between now and the day that you die?
No more popcorn.
I look forward to talking to you soon.
Okay, Glenn. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. That's defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. Thanks.